Hey folks, how's it going? This is Iron Seagull here, back with another Sims info/thoughts video. So this one is all about a SimGuru Q&A. Won't be too long, I don't think. Well, knowing me, it always ends up being longer than I expected anyways. But yeah, there's some questions that SimGuru Grant answered recently, and there's one other one from SimGuru Grant that's related to Get Famous that I didn't get to put in the previous video. So let's get started. The first question is related to some objects that a lot of people, myself included, think are just really oversized, like the cupcake machine. And SimGuru Grant says, okay, so we have a handful of really huge objects on TS4. We were trying to add in more objects late in the game, and we got weirdly excited about making them big and flashy. In hindsight, oops, we'll hopefully shrink them someday. Okay, that does explain a lot. I kinda understand it now. Even though, yeah, it was really awkward that we didn't get a normal sized telescope in the base game. But, yeah, okay, they really wanted to, like, impress us with this new base game. They wanted to make some flashy objects, so they went for these abnormally sized objects. And yeah, I definitely would use a telescope a lot more than the big observatory, and I would use like a smaller cupcake machine and a smaller microscope, a lot bigger, or sorry, not a lot bigger, a lot more than its bigger counterparts. It really is too bad they didn't have enough time to include smaller versions of those objects from the start. Then we have a question about cars from Khalid. Is the reason we aren't getting any cars is because it isn't open world? Do you agree that we don't need cars to walk down the street? Please bring this tweet to people's attention. And Grant says, don't assume why we don't have cars. Ultimately, we have a ton of things we want to make. Each of them requires thought and needs to fit in with everything. If and when we make cars, we want them to be amazing. So there you go. Every time I bring up cars, there's always at least one person who's like, oh, but it's pointless to have cars in the game because there's no open world, and just seem to completely disregard that The Sims 2 exists and they have cars that are arguably better than what they were in The Sims 3. And yeah, that's good that the open world, or lack thereof, in The Sims 4 is not preventing cars from coming. And, well, I've already said it before, but cars seem to be, like, becoming the new toddlers in terms of just how many requests there are for them now. It's kind of crazy. I noticed that start picking up, like, after Cats and Dogs were released, pretty shortly after that, and then it just started getting more and more. It's like, whoa, okay. It's just so weird, just coming from someone who has just wanted cars in The Sims 4 from the beginning and has always been begging for them, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, now they're like the new toddlers. Makes me feel like a hipster car fan or something. I don't know, it's just kind of weird. Now, there is one other thing I should mention in regards to me wanting cars that I don't really bring up often enough, and when I say I want cars, I don't literally just mean cars. I want garages, I want driveways, I want other methods of transportation like motorcycles, bicycles, scooters, and what else? Like hot air balloons, and the carpools as well. I really want those. And the horses, I'd really like to see horses eventually. I don't need them right now, but still, that's something I'd like to see come back to the game eventually. Oh, and how can I forget? Boats and helicopters. Those are two other modes of transport that I'd really like to see. Boats, I think, would be a little bit more difficult to do than cars, probably, but yeah, I just really like the Island Paradise expansion and how it brought that mode of transportation to the series for the first time, and it really helped make the worlds feel a bit more deep because it's not just all about going on land. You can also just like travel across the water and not just rely on your Sims having to swim all the way across. And exactly like how it was in The Sims 2, I'd love to have helicopters return as both an ownable vehicle and as a carpool in certain careers once you're really high up. That was just really cool to see, to just have this helicopter just drop in front of your house to pick up your sim and then you just fly off to work. And when I say that I want carpools, I also do include school buses in that. Even though, yeah, sure, some children walk to school. I mean, in high school, I always walked home. But, yeah, I don't know. There's just something cute to me about just, like, the kids getting ready for school, and then you hear the school bus honking outside, and then they, like, wave goodbye to their parents and get onto the school bus. I don't know. It's just some of those little charming things that I'd like to see return in The Sims 4. And since I was just talking about kids, let's move on to a question that's about toddlers. So Gostella asked, why did you guys make the toddlers walk instead of crawl in TS4? Just curious, even though it's old news, and they're still adorable. And Grant says, we wanted to present them as slightly older for a lot of reasons. We really wanted to focus on that 3-year-old stage, basically. And, yeah, I don't know, I never really had a problem with the toddlers being different in that sense compared to what they were in the previous games, and I think it does make the toddlers a little bit more approachable, especially when it comes to taking care of them, because then they can learn to go up and down stairs, and they can just move around the world a bit faster. I think it works, and yeah, also it's just nice to have the toddlers be a little bit different in this game instead of just being exactly the same, especially since we waited so long for toddlers to come back. Alright, so now moving on to some Get Famous related stuff. Laura Brown asks, how long has Get Famous been in the works? And Grant responds by saying, we spent about as much development time on it as most expansions. We're very consistent. Cats and dogs always takes longer. Yeah, that answer doesn't really surprise me, to be honest. This expansion pack, at least so far, hasn't really struck me as something that would take more development time than usual. Like, yeah, it makes sense that cats and dogs take longer because they have to, like, program these animals and have all of these different animations for them. It's not just like making another age group, you're making like a whole different state of life. So yeah, there is that. Although I'm kind of surprised he didn't also mention seasons in the same breath as cats and dogs, but I don't know. Moving on to the next question, the Potterhead, yes, asked how many themes are there to record a movie in the new expansion? And Grant says there are a ton of acting gigs, and that's pretty good to hear. I was pretty surprised by the variety of the stuff that they already showed off in the trailer, so it's going to be interesting to see just how much more are there. We also have a little bit of information as to how Reputation works here, because Patsy Simmer asks, I'm happy Reputation is back, will there be bad Reputation also for normal Sims, like Sims gossiping about each other? And Graham says a Sim can have a reputation without being a celebrity. We'll reveal more about how that actually works in the Fame and Rep livestream on November 2nd. So that is pretty intriguing, and it does make it sound like, yeah, like it's cool that you can have reputation without even being famous, but then it kind of opens up the doors a bit more as to what kind of celebrities we can make. Like, not every one of our celebrities have to be exactly, like, adored by their fans. Like, we could make celebrities like the Paul brothers, where they're hated a lot, but, I mean, they're obviously still famous, regardless. So, yeah, you could have these infamous sort of Sims parading around as celebrities, so yeah, that could definitely open up some storytelling possibilities there. And we got one more tweet to go over here, because Bone Daddy asks, if you could live in any of the worlds currently available / announced, where would it be? And SimGuru Grant says, probably one of the ones we're making now, but haven't told you about. Oh shoot. Yeah, wow. Well, what could that be? I think he said something similar. Yeah, like he talked about having multiple worlds in progress. But I think it's pretty interesting to hear that one of these in progress worlds is one that he would really love to live in. And, well, what could that be? I don't know. I'm not sure why, but Grant really strikes me as someone who would really love to just, like, retire to a tropical world, like with the beach and all that. So, yeah, maybe Maybe it's that. I know a lot of us want it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I have any real leads on that, but I don't know. I could imagine that being true. And that wraps up another Sims info/thoughts video. Yep, it did end up being longer than expected. I thought it was going to be like 7 or 8 minutes, but nope, we went past the 11-minute mark. So yeah, at least it's not like Let's Play The Sims info/thoughts Get Famous Part 1, because that was a pretty difficult video to make, or, well, it wasn't too difficult, but it definitely took a long time to make. But this one was fairly easy, and I thought it would be like a good one to do before leaving for Sims Camp. And actually, speaking of Sims Camp, yeah, I am working on getting everything lined up, so yeah, an update video will come in time. It will come either today or tomorrow, but Sunday is when I have to leave, so at the very latest, I have to have it up then. And I guess this is the last Sims info/thoughts video that I'll be doing before I'm under embargo from Sims Camp, or embargo as I like to call it, because embargoes could sometimes really make me want to go blarg, but thankfully this time the embargo is going to lift pretty soon after I get back, so thankfully it will not be like last year where there were all of these different embargoes spread out for cats and dogs, and it was just kind of confusing and painful. Nope, it's just like one embargo for Get Famous, and that's it, and that's good, and it lifts soon after I get back, so don't need to hold stuff back for long, so that'll be good for both you and me. But enough of my ramblings. Be sure to leave a like or comment or even subscribe, because it lets me know that you like my channel, my videos, and it helps you keep up to date with my latest content from The Sims, Sonic the Hedgehog, and more. So I will talk to you all later, and have a great day. Thanks for watching!